Okay, so I stopped at 4 because it's getting to be about the size that I am interested in it being. Now basically what I've done is I've gone through and I've done all of the kind of stamping that I think that I want, and any kind of spraying or stenciling or anything like that. I'm not done with the book, but I've those are the things that I kind of like to try and get done before I put the book together, because those are the things that require, excuse me, my camera is moving, there we go. Those are the things that kind of require you to be able to put it flat and not try and work around stuff. So anyway, so I stopped at 4 because if you just loosely get them and just kind of pretend like they're in a book. Let me do this with my Tim Holtz. Okay, so get it where you can read it. And get it out of the way here. Okay, so you're looking at about 2 inches right there from the top, from one side of the book to the other side of the book. There's the 3 and there's the 5. So, sorry, my camera keeps crawling down the... Let me move this. There, maybe that'll help. Am I still in? Yes. Okay. So that's about 2 inches. Well, I really didn't want to go much beyond an inch. So I'm going to go about, I'm going to make gussets that are 5/8 of an inch. So just beyond a half. So it's still going to, because my goal is to have a book that when full, it's still going to lay like a book. It's still going to open up and flip the pages like a book. Instead of, where it's like this, and then you have to try and flip the page and write on it. So that's my goal. So I kind of look at what it is with it's just kind of laying there without having a whole lot of pressure on it. And so I think, of course I got it flipped. Now this is, nothing is in this really. I mean, there's no tags or anything. It's just all of the paper that's going to be in there. It's just all the pages. And it opens up to about 2. So, again, that's what I'm going to do, and so that's what you need to do, is you need to get to the point where you're done with all your stamping, stenciling, for at least for the most part, your major stuff is done, and you've got your pages in the order that you want them in, and then we'll go to the next step. So I'll be back in just a minute with that. Thanks. Bye. So what we're after here is to have our outside sheet, our outside piece of cover stock, kind of making all of our signatures. Now I have my first signature, and then I have a signature of tea and other stained, coffee stained papers that I did up. And then my third signature. So I've got 3 signatures in here, and I've got, let's see, I think I got a good 5/8 here, and I do. So I've got a 5/8 inch gusset there, and I have my cardstock even on both sides. I might go and cut some of this down, just a smidge down, but for all intents and purposes, this is good. This is just a 1/16 off both sides, just to make it so that it doesn't really stick out any further than the pages do. Anyway, so how I did this, because my pages are basically 5 1/2, and that's how that gave me enough room to do the 5/8 with just a teeny bit of overhang. So how I did it, and let me see if I can, I'm going to get you a little closer here. Move this down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is a 12-inch span of paper. You can't see the whole thing, but it's a 12-inch span. And obviously 6 is my center. Sorry for my fingernails. I was working with some stuff that actually took the fingernail polish off of my nails, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I gotta redo my nails. Anyway, I wanted to get this done so we could move on with the video. So 6 obviously is the center section, you know, but I don't want to have a score mark at the 6. I want to have a 5/8 inch gusset. Well, if I did 5 3/4 and 6 1/4, that would be a half. If I did 5 5/8 and 6 3/8, that would be 3/4 of a gusset. So I need in between there, but I don't have eighths. I don't have that 16ths on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trusty pencil, and between this 5 3/4 mark and this mark next to it, I'm going to use this little extension that's between the two score marks, and I'm going to cut that right in half, put a mark where my pencil, you know, where it's going to hit that right in the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. In between the 6 1/4 and 6 3/8 marks, I'm going to put a little dash right in the center of this little tick mark that's there. Then I'm going to put this over here. Oh, hold on a second, my phone's going. Okay, so I've got the gussets scored, and I took this piece of paper, which is the 8 1/2, which is the height of my paper, and I took my ruler, and I'm going 1/4 inch down from the top, and let's see, do I have all of this in line? I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going 1/4 inch from the top and 1/4 inch from the bottom. And then this is my halfway point, which is 4 1/4. And then these are 1 1/4 inch, no, 1 3/8 inch. And then from here, this is 1 3/8 inch. So that they're all pretty much. Anyway, you just get where you're comfortable with whatever measurements you've got. Let me see real quick. So this is 1/4 inch. It's 1 1/2 inch. 2 7/8, 4 1/4, 5 5/8, 7, and 8 1/4. So that's where those are. Anyway, so then I take, it's a 5/8 inch gusset, and I just kind of like, I'll line the one up, and then I've got the 5/8 on this side and the one on this side. So I just went 1/8 of an inch in and drew little cross sections, and then in between the other two lines that are in this grouping, I centered my third hashtag, or whatever you want to call it, little mark in between those two. So that's what I have up and down. I paper clipped this to my first sheet, so when I pop my holes, it's just going to you know, do the first one for me. And let me get my awl. Oh, my fingers are never just quite, there we go. Okay, got this Walmart, I think it was. And I'm just going to pop right at the center of each one of those. And I'm trying not to go too terribly deep. Because what this is doing right now is we are, there we go. We are sewing these into this. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Come on. I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. Okay, I hope I'm staying, oh, there we go. And here, here, here. Just popping little holes in there. Okay, so there's that. And now I have this little tool that I put together. These are, there's two of them here, but I put a piece of cardboard across the back of them and glued it on. These are corner pieces out of some frames that like you get at Michael's or something. You can try going to any of the frame shops and asking for these. They are very, very sturdy. I mean, they're like a very dense, triple thick chipboard kind of thing. They're very, very strong. Okay, so that's what I've got. And I did get all four of them so that when this one finally gets to the point where it's breaking, I can do the other one. Okay, so this is what I use to do my signatures. And I go through each one of my signatures. Like I'll do this one here. I'm going to move this out a little bit so that you can see everything now. I'm not looking at measurements anymore. So like I'll go through one of the signatures that I'm getting ready to do, and I'm looking to get everything in exactly the placement that I'm going to want it. Like, am I going to want this low, or can I move it up a little bit, you know? So that this is what I'm doing. I'm getting everything into its proper placement so that when, and do I want to, I'm going to lower this one down just a little bit. There we go. And I want to make sure everything's lined up at the bottom. There. And then that's it. Okay. So then I just kind of snap everything down so I know it's nice and low. And I'm going to take, I like the clothespins the best because they go up into the paper a little higher than like the, because you know some of the pieces you got are smaller pieces and you're not necessarily going to catch them. But this is what I do. I try and go up. I stay out of my area here where I'm going to be poking holes and sewing, but let me get another one here. Oh, not that one. Uh-oh. No more. Oh no, there's one more. Good. Okay, and then I'm going to push all of the papers down with my finger and then move my hand up a little bit, and that's what I do. That's how I prepare all the signatures. See, that doesn't look like it's laying. Oh, that's because there's so much. So because this one has got something right there that's catching, I'm going to put this on this side. So I have one on this side and one on this side, so that'll work. And it just helps keep all those papers down into this fold, all the score lines together. Okay, so there's that. But like I'm saying, we're working on this one first. So I'm going to take this off, save my paper clips for the next cardstock piece that I'm going to do. And I'm going to lay these three I'm just going to line one side up. It's not super easy, and I could have done this before I did all that, but I already did it, so I don't want to undo them. Yeah, it's just not going to work this time. Normally, I put the three of them together, and I mark on it where the holes are going to be, but because like this quarter one up here is not going to get through very much. It's only going to get through this top one, but I'm still going to leave it there. Because the quarter one on the bottom is going to go through almost all of them. My end screen here, yeah. So I'm still going to leave this, but what I might do is get one other sheet that's going to go flip up there a little higher, because that pink one is kind of all by itself up there. And so I think I'm going to take this brown one and line it up with the top. And there we go. So that changed it just enough. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to put my little clothespins back on. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this where I've got one of the holes at the fold, the center one here. So there I've got one of the holes is right in my fold. It goes nice and straight all the way down. Okay, so we're going to put this here. And I hold this so that the curved part of it is going straight down into the table. If you have to move your... There we go. Alright, and then I line this up with the paper, make sure that we've got everything nice and cozy. And then I'm just going to use my awl, which I put somewhere, here we go. And I'm going to poke right down into the hole. Yeah. There we go. And you want to be going straight down into the hole. There we go. Now normally what I would do is once I got the holes in all of this, I would line them all up and then just make a straight line from all the holes so that you make sure that you really are lining the pages up the way you want them lined up. But that's all right. And I think that's okay. Got these too low. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing again. Line the top pages up. Hold my little form down, and I'm going to make sure that I am got this down into the fold, all the score marks, and then I'm going to poke the hole. there's another one done. And then here's the last one. This way. This is some paper that I got at a garage sale, and it has kind of a shiny film to it. I do not know what kind of paper it is. The people that I bought it from did not know. But I got about 5 inches of paper for, oh my gosh, I think they said, you know, here, if you take it all for a nickel, because nobody had touched it. And I mean, I'm serious. It was about this much paper, about that much paper. And she gave it all to me for a nickel, and I said, well, can it be written on? Because I didn't really, and as much as a good deal as that was, I didn't want it if it was something that you couldn't write on, because then what am I going to do with it if you can't write on it? And so she went and got a pencil and a pen, and it took both very nicely, and I was like, okay, sold. I'll get all that paper off your hands. So, and there we go. Okay, so there's all 3 of my one signatures. Now normally I would go ahead and get the other ones done, but I'm going to do this one total signature with you, and then we're going to, and then I'll just going to show you how to do one, and I'll get the other one done, and then we'll move on from there. So, let me come right back. I'm going to get my thread and needle and all that good stuff. So, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I have, this is bedspread cotton. It's size number 13. And it's Threads USA. It's ivory color. People have always asked me, you know, what thread am I using? That I use bedspread cotton, and it's just on a big commercial size, whatever you call that thing. Now it's not waxed, but I just have a piece of wax, beeswax, that I just run it through. Like that, and you know, I do a good bit of it at a time, and you're gonna need, I always like to do 3. I don't ever need that much, but I just don't want to run out, so I do 3 lengths. 2 lengths is probably 2 lengths and a little bit is probably plenty, but I just do 3, give myself. Now, I can't ever see to do this, so I use my little cheat sheet. This is a really old one, and it just, I don't know how many needles it's ever done in its life, and I just love using it. It's got the instructions on how to do it. I don't know how old it is, but I believe my grandmother had it, my mom used it, and now I have it, so... Okay, this is not a darning needle, but it is poked. It has got a point to it. I've poked myself quite a few times, but, you know, you learn to live with stuff. So I'm going to start with the bottommost one. It doesn't, I just find it easier, but, you know, you can do whatever feels right to you. Now I leave these on here because it just leaves the holes hanging in there better to me, and I'm just going to use a simple pamphlet stitch, and I'm going to go into the back hole section. And I saw one of the ladies, and I can't remember who, I don't know if it was Lemon Seagrass, I think that's Paula, or I don't remember. I'm sorry guys, but this isn't my idea. But you just take a little washi tape and tape your cord down so you don't pull it through. I've done that a few times and it's not fun. Okay. And feed that back in through there. I start at the top because I like to have the threads come out the top. Where are you going in at? Okay. I used to have my light on the other side of me, which worked really so much better than having the light on this side of me. So I'm right-handed, but for some reason I do this with my left hand. I'm ambidextrous. My mom was left-handed, my dad was right-handed, and so I learned to do a lot of my things with my left hand because my mom, who teaches you how to do stuff, you know, especially girls. So I don't know why this is not going through. Sorry, anytime you're on camera it won't work. Oh, for heaven's sake. So where are you? Okay, so there's that one. Don't make holes. So there's that one, and there we go. Yeah, you want to make sure you're not making your own hole, because that's not good. Let's see. There we go. So you just keep going up and down and up and down and up and down, making sure that you're getting yourself into a proper hole. Okay, and I got everything but the envelope. That's all right, I can get that. There we go. I mean, this pamphlet stitch is the easy one that, you know, I mean, pretty much everybody knows how to do. So, and everybody's got really good tutorials on it. So, you know, anybody, you just put, you know, pamphlet stitch on and you can get how to do that. So I'm not going to do more than just this one to show you that, and I'm going to stitch the rest of the book up. And because the next thing is what you do with these gusseted signatures. That's what, you know, nobody else really has a tutorial on that. So then once you get through everything, then you're just going to go back through, and it's usually pretty easy because everything's lined up at this point. And that way you're going to have stitching. You know, there's not going to be any open holes. Everything's going to be stitched. And you do want to make sure, though, that you're not running into, like there I split this thread. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. There we go. Because then you can't pull it tight. It will only pull tight up until the split thread. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to pull this. Okay. And this one is our last hole. And then we're going to, oh, come on. Okay, and it looks like maybe I did get, no, I didn't. We're good. Okay, now when you go to tighten this, let me take my washi tape off of here. When you go to tighten this, I'll save that for the next one. You got to remember which way when you went in, which way did you go? Did you go down or did you go up from that particular hole? Well, this came from here to here. So you're going to pull in the same direction that you were moving, okay? This one, on the other hand, if you were to pull down like this, there's no stitches from this direction. So you're going to pull this one up. And that way you've got to make sure that it's nice and tight. Feels like that one's not really, oh yeah, it's pretty tight. Okay. All right, and then we're just going to give it a tie. And you're going to want to stick a finger there. And another tie. Oh, there we go. So you go right over left and then left over right when you're doing your knots, and that way you'll get your knots won't slip back out again. Okay, and then I leave these because I don't know what I'm going to do yet. More than likely I'm just going to put some cutesy little things on the ends like everybody's been doing, but I don't know. Unfortunately I didn't line this one up quite as well, but we'll figure it out. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to get all three of these sewn in, and then you're going to repeat the entire lineup with your template that you've done on your second section. And if you're going to make a third section, you can. But once we get all of this, each one of these signatures done, then I will come back and we'll go over what your next step is and how you're going to deal with these gusseted signatures. Okay? All right, guys. Get her done. Bye.